Hey, would you look at that? I actually got outside in a reasonable hour this time. When I say reasonable, of course what I mean is I got outside in an hour where there's still sunlight outside, which doesn't really happen very often. Which brings me to another interesting question. Did I actually do an episode yesterday? I can't even remember. I don't know. I've missed out on a couple of episodes this week that I'm not even really sure on what days did I actually record episodes of this show and on what days I didn't. So, hold on. Let's just go with the assumption that I did. Alright? So how was yesterday's episode, by the way? I can't remember. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm pretty sure that I did. But regardless of whether or not I did or didn't, what I do remember is that last episode, whenever that was, I spent a pretty interesting amount of time talking about oh yeah, I got a collector's bonus from Sentrets. How many Sentrets have I already caught? Let me just check this out. It's good that they're giving us this collector's bonus every once in a while. I got 400 of these. Nice. I mean, I like the collector's bonus, and it's especially useful for people under level 40. Or as soon to be, people under level 50, because level 50 is slowly approaching. I don't know when it's going to be implemented. I mean, I myself am below level 40, so I don't think I would even know if it was added to the game or not. But I guess we'll just have to wait. How long does it take for me to get to level 40? Let me just check. Oh, I accidentally clicked on Agron, which is not a bad thing because he has a gift for me, a present. Let's see what he wants to give me. Some more berries. That's never a bad thing to have, isn't it? Yeah, they have several different uses. Okay, let's check it out. I'm about 89 or 88,000 XP. Not sure I'm gonna reach that goal today, but definitely tomorrow, maybe. Actually, you know what? Let's just set a more realistic goal and say that by next week. Alright, by next week, I should be able to reach level 40. That's what I think, anyway. Anyways, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but yeah, the clouds definitely look very different over here. Hold on, I'm gonna try to give you guys a much better look at this. But if you look over there behind me, you can see heavy rain clouds hovering over us. However, if you look over on the other side, right behind me now, you can see that those clouds are dissipating and that the sun is still shining. Well, this is common standard practice here in Israel, especially in this city. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see, but let me just give you a good look at the sky right now. You can definitely tell that there's... Hold on. This ought to be easier. You can definitely tell that there is a line in the sky where the heavy rain clouds on this side of the world begin, and this is where they end. Something like that. Anyways, did I mention I'm working on a Pokemon game of my own, a Pokemon region of my own? Yeah, I'm trying to think, how am I going to implement the weather into this game? Because weather does play a pretty important part in Israel. Not as much as other places. I mean, I've mentioned this several times, but I got my idea for this Pokemon region from you know what, I don't want to go this direction right now. I want to go this way. Let's see what's going to happen if I go this way. I got the idea to make this Pokemon region from a YouTuber by the name of Lockstin and Noggin. This guy lives, I believe he lives in Oregon. So he decided to make his Pokemon region based on where he lives, the Pacific Northwest. And in the Pacific Northwest, according to him at least, I don't know, I've never been there, the weather is crazy. There are crazy shifts in the weather. Not like in Israel where there's like rain and snow in the north and sometimes even in the center. Meanwhile, the south, which is where I live, on that very same day could be, I don't know, 40 degrees Celsius, that is, and the sun is shining brightly and very warmly. So it's nothing crazy like that. It's more like there's crazy shifts in the weather. Like there's incredibly cold snow and hail in the morning, and like once again 40 degrees in the evening, something like that. I don't know, he's doing a much better job explaining this than I am, but which is why you should check it out, obviously. But so yeah, he decided to take this concept of the weather, where the weather is hot and sunny 1 minute, and cold and snowy in the next minute, and kind of implement it into the game. His entire game is kind of based around weather. And as a matter of fact, his box art legendaries also revolve around weather. There's like one that controls, there's an ice type that only controls snow, and a fire type that, oops, hold on. There's an ice type that controls the winter, and a fire type that controls the summer. And each of them have created this other legendary, just like I did with my Pokemon game, the sub-legendary, as I call them, even though they're not, I don't want to consider them as sub-legendary. I gave them a name. I call them the Legendary Guardians, but each one of those box art legendaries have created a new legendary Pokemon. One that there's a fairy type that controls spring, and a ghost type that controls the autumn. And it seems pretty logical to me that you have 4 of these, and each one kind of represents a different season. And so like those smaller Pokemon are kind of like heralds for the bigger ones. They're kind of, the spring Pokemon goes everywhere and kind of replenishes the land and revives all the trees and plants, waiting for the fire type's arrival. And he's slowly followed by the ghost type one. Oh no, I was aiming for the Weedle. I don't want to battle you, Sierra. I don't have enough room in my egg sacs. Okay, I think I said that wrong, and possibly inappropriately. Anyways, so yeah, the fire type is slowly followed by the ghost type, which is instructing all the trees and plants to die, preparing them for the autumn. And then there's the ice type that just makes winter everywhere, and they continue on with this cycle all the time. According to him, he says that this region kind of experiences every single season all at once. It's kind of interesting. So obviously I went with a different direction for my Pokemon game, especially with the box art legendaries and everything. I went with something more story. Maybe not story, but it is a story what he came up with. But I went look, there's no way I can explain what I did without spoiling it, so I'm gonna just not talk about it for now. But yeah, how do I implement the weather into my Pokemon region? That's gonna be interesting, because what I wanted to do was a big part of my region is I wanted to make sure that the north, south, and center of the region feel like completely different regions all on their own, which kind of represents Israel in a way, where if you live in the south, basically what I'm trying to say is it's just like in Israel, where all three of these parts, north, south, and center, feel like different countries sometimes. And you'd know that if you live here, but I mean, just you have like a hot, barren desert, a lush, green forested area, and a densely populated urban environment, all in a country that's a little bit bigger than New Jersey. And that's insane. A country this small can have so many different environments. And I wanted to implement that. Starting to think of how I'm going to implement the weather, because the weather also plays a pretty important part in Pokemon, because certain Pokemon get boosts depending on the weather. For example, fire type moves get stronger in the heavy sun, as well as water type moves getting weaker in the sun, while grass type moves, sorry, there's so much steam on my glasses right now, but yeah, grass type moves like Solar Beam and Synthesis, they don't necessarily get a boost, but they just work better. Like Synthesis heals more HP, and Solar Beam only takes one turn. Stuff like that. On the other hand, during heavy rain, water type moves are stronger and fire type moves are weaker, as well as the electric type move Thunder, which is normally at 70% accuracy, is now 100% accuracy because of the rain. Now I like that. And as far as other weathers go, there's hail and sandstorm, which are pretty much the same thing. They basically just cause damage to Pokemon every turn. The only difference is that hail doesn't affect ice types, and sandstorm doesn't affect rock, ground, and I think maybe steel types. I think. I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, that's the I believe that those are the only 4 weather conditions in the games right now. I think I should go that way. I don't know. It kind of bums me out that there's literally no Pokemon in this entire stretch of space to walk in. I guess that's one way of calling it. But yeah, in addition to that, there are also various terrains that I believe they were introduced in the most recent game, Sword and Shield. There's like electric terrain, which kind of boosts the effectiveness of electric type moves. Grassy terrain, which heals all the Pokemon on the battlefield every single turn. Psychic terrain, which I believe makes which I believe boosts psychic type powers, psychic type moves, and fairy terrain, which boosts fairy type moves. Now I like those ideas. Okay, I seem to have wandered way too far into where the heavy rain clouds happen to be, and I believe it's starting to rain. Or maybe it's just my imagination. Okay, moving on. Now, I like those ideas, but I kind of feel like they're a little too basic, if you know what I mean. I want to kind of expand on that. Now, I did actually introduce a couple of new terrains in my game. I believe I've mentioned a couple of them when I talked about the starters in the starters video. Like, each of the starters has their own unique signature moves that, aside from dealing damage, they also... Oh, look at that! Look at that. We went to night mode. Aside from just basically dealing damage, they also changed up the terrain. Now, the fire type has this terrain, kind of everything of a burning forest around it, and kind of deals damage to every non-fire or water type on the battlefield. And I believe it does extra damage to grass and ice types. I don't know. I've written everything down. I need to take a better look at my own notes before talking about these things. But that's it for the fire type. The water type... Oh no, there's a puddle over there. Pretty big one. Hold on, I'm just gonna try to avoid that one. Look at the size of that thing. Anyways, so the grass type creates this oasis type terrain. Oh, look at that. I've reached the mall and they opened the secondary entrance. Maybe I should go in and check if any of the stores are open. Should be worthwhile to check. Oh, look at that. It's a ditto. But anyways, oh yeah, the grass type has this oasis-like terrain which kind of heals everybody, just like grassy terrain, except I believe it heals grass and water type more than the usual. Of course, if they're dual type, it doesn't double the effectiveness. It works better for them. It works the same way. Now, maybe I should add someone to this gym. Looks like I can't. Never mind. But yeah, that's it for the grass type. Now the water type creates this very sauna-like terrain, where I believe it lowers the accuracy of everyone on the battlefield, but it confuses the enemy team, which is good. Again, I need to take a look at my notes. I've written everything down for a reason. I'm just not really good at remembering what I wrote. Also, I did actually sorry about that. I've got the hiccups for some reason. I also came up with special terrains specific for the legendaries. And the thing about these terrains is I don't want just those terrains to be something that only these specific Pokemon can generate using only their signature moves. Alright? I want them to be an actual part of the game, just like well, maybe that's not a good example, but sort of in Sword and Shield, you go in the wild area, and sometimes you run into areas that have the electric terrain already set up, or the grassy terrain set up, stuff like that. I don't want it to be just something in the background. I want to actually make it part of the story, if you know what I mean. So like, maybe I could just make it a part of the wild area, but also a part of the story at the same time. So like, the oasis stuff, I mean, you can just walk into places in the wild area that already have this weather set up. You can find also places where they have the sauna weather set up. But also, because it's much harder and much more specific to create the burning forest type terrain, because you actually need to be in a burning forest for that to happen, I want to have something in the story that kind of has a forest burning, where every battle you have in that area it'll most likely be to fight the evil team, but it's also going to be a wild area, and on top of that, so you could find yourself running into Pokemon for wild encounter and wild battles while still being inside this burning forest type of terrain. But also the main point is to make it so you can battle the evil team in a burning forest type of terrain. So you need to be very careful on how you battle in those places. Now obviously, if you've seen my starter video, you know that all three of the starters are kind of immune to that type of terrain, because they're all either fire or water type to some degree or another. So the starter is going to be the most useful in that type of environment. Just be careful with other Pokemon you take with you to the battle, which is kind of tricky because you need a water type to be immune to the effect of the terrain, but at the same time you're also fighting in the forest, which is full of grass types, and also it's full of rock types, which will be super effective against the fire type if you choose to use that one to kind of be immune to the effect of the terrain. I'm gonna battle this gym and change out all the Pokemon in it, because why not? But yeah, that's my general idea. Also, I have created 3 more terrains for the legendaries, the box art legendaries. I mean, you gotta assume that if the starters each have their own unique terrains and signature moves that create these such terrains, you gotta imagine at some point that the legendaries will have that one as well. And so far I've only created one for the box art legendaries. Now see, the differences between the terrains in my game and the terrains in Sword and Shield, the terrains in those games are very specific to specific types. And I want my terrains to not be just centered around one specific type, but rather to have a specific theme behind them. Because I've mentioned in the starters video that the fire type starter have kind of they all went wild one day and they burned an entire forest to the ground. That makes sense that the terrain that they can generate will be a burning forest. I've mentioned that the water type starter is a healer, and they basically help grow plants in the desert, and that's basically how an oasis is formed in the Molash region. Put my Dragon in there, just because why not? So you see where I'm going with this. I wanted to make these terrains fit well with the legendaries as well, but I want also, like I said, to fit them in with the story and make sure that various types of Pokemon can create those terrains. Just like in Sword and Shield, there are actually terrain setting moves, like grassy terrain or fairy terrain. Moves that are specifically used to create these such terrains around the battlefield. Well, again, it's going to take a while for me to figure out how to implement that. And again, this is just the terrains. I haven't even talked about the weather, like I was going to at first. But yeah. What I want to do is make sure that at any given time, the weather is different on each area of the region, and I think that one should be pretty easy. Just have it be either raining, snowing, windy. Wind is another interesting weather that Game Freak hasn't used in any of their games. That should be interesting. But yeah, so it's always going to be one specific weather or one specific terrain in the north. Almost going to be one specific weather or specific terrain in the center, and one specific weather and one specific terrain in the south. And the evil team is going to change that. Like I said, they're going to do something that will cause the burning forest situation in the north. And I don't know, they're going to try to introduce some kind of weather or terrain in the south that normally doesn't fit the south. You know what? How about a flood? Because I do remember a couple of years ago in the military base that I served in, there was a flood, and one of my commanders almost died in it. So that should be interesting. I mean, a flood in the desert? That sounds interesting, because everything just becomes muddy. And because for the most part, it's an area that isn't very well prepared to deal with that type of intense weather. All right, so idea. Do you see the light bulb over my head? So yeah, there's going to be this flood. It's going to be tough to stand. Every non-flying or levitating Pokemon is going to keep falling on its face. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, and it boosts like water type Pokemon and ground types, because it's water and sand and everything and mud. Yeah, this is great, and it has a special effect on Pokemon who are both water and ground, and that kind of ties into a bit of an idea that I have for the gym leader in that area. I'm not gonna say what that idea is. I'm saving it for a different video. But yeah, okay, that's a really good idea. See, the thing about creating a Pokemon game is you can't just I mean, you can, but you can use the formula that has been existing in pretty much every single generation up to this point, and just you know, make your own Pokemon and your own story, your own characters, and just run with it. I want to take it a step further. You know, I want to use the new mechanics that they've introduced in some of the more recent games and expand on them, because I do believe that those mechanics that they've added are good. I just don't think they're fully fleshed out yet. Like the wild area only being one specific place in the mainland Galar, as opposed to being everywhere in the DLCs. You know, stuff like that. That's what I'm interested in. I want, first of all, I'm not going to have the entire map be a wild area. That would be just crazy and wouldn't really work in a practical sense. But the cities are all going to have to be as localized and focused in all the other like all the other cities in the Galar region. But in between those cities, there are going to be multiple wild areas that you can explore. That's what I'm going for. Of course, there's no guarantee that this game is ever going to come off the ground, which is why, by the way, I created a Patreon. I started a Patreon for this game. I was going to spend the entire episode talking about that, but I kind of got sidetracked talking about the weather. But it's good. I mean, it's been a good conversation, and guess what? The sun ran away from us. But yeah, I started a Patreon last night. it's patreon.com/Pokemon Star Cross and Crescent. That's the new name of the game. It's no longer Pokemon Star and Cross. It's going to be Star, Cross, and Crescent, which is what I've mentioned in the previous episode. And yeah, support me on Patreon if you feel like doing it, and if you want to see this game, because I really need the help right now. As I've mentioned multiple times, I'm unemployed right now, and I'm kind of paying the artist to help me design the map and Pokemon and concepts. I'm paying them with my own money that I've saved for several years now, as well as straight from my my retirement, my unemployment benefits, which is good, but at the same time it's also finite. It will end eventually. So if you're interested in watching this game, I know I've noticed that every time I talk about this game that I'm working on, the views on this show for some reason go up. So that's why I'm spending so much time talking about this game. A, because I like it. I mean, it's my game, and I like talking about the ideas of how I'm going to make it. But at the same time, I also noticed that people love hearing me talk about this game, because I get a lot of views on this show whenever I talk about it. So that's why I keep talking about it. So if you enjoy hearing me talk about it, and if you really want to see this game come to fruition, which I hope I can manage that, I urge you to please check out my Patreon. There are a couple of tiers in there. You can just get early access to Pokemon artwork as soon as they have something to show. You can have your name be the name of a character in the game. You can have your own sprite in the game. And what else? You can contribute by adding your ideas for Pokemon. It's one of the higher tiers, obviously. And you can contribute by adding your ideas. I can't really guarantee that every single idea will be... every single idea for a Pokemon that you have will be in the game. But I can promise you that I will at least consider it. And also there's the highest tier, which I really don't expect anyone to sign up for. מה נשמע?
מה קורה?
בסדר, מה שלומך?
זה יופי לראות אותך.
גם אותך?
עמוד אחד, מה העניינים?
בסדר. רק רגע. Yeah, sorry about that. I met an old friend and I kind of had to stop the show and talk to them. But anyways, it's starting to rain, so I'm going to be very quick about it. Like I said, the Patreon. Whoo! Look at that. I hatched an egg, which means I can now battle Sierra and get myself a new one. It's another Volibee. I'm still kind of waiting on that Bisharp, which doesn't really look like I'm going to get it anytime soon. Anyways, I'll try to stand over here, which is underneath the roof, because I don't want to get raindrops all over the phone. In any case, as I've mentioned, the Patreon, there's, I believe, 5 or 6 tiers. Like I said, you can have, you can see early access, you can have your name in the game, you can have your a character in the game share your likeness, you can add your ideas to the game itself, which again, I have to repeat myself, I can't promise that every idea for Pokemon that you have will make it to the game, because there's a very limited Pokédex, and there are a few ideas that I for sure want to have in the game, and I'm not going to, and there's also a very centralized theme for the game. It's very focused, and I don't want to compromise the theme that I have for the game just to put Pokemon that I don't think fit the main idea of the game into the game. Okay, and also obviously there's the final tier, which I don't expect anyone to sign up for, but I decided to put it there anyways, just in case. It's it's a tier where you can you're basically co-producers on the project with me. Any idea you have is going to be at least considered, if not planned. And hold on, I really gotta finish this battle. Blizzard. Any ideas you have will be will definitely be considered for the game itself. And you're going to have your name on the marquee. Obviously, all the Patreon supporters, if I'll have any, they're all going to be in the credits. But other than that, your name will be on the project as co-creator. Again, it's a pretty high tier that I don't really expect anyone to sign up for, but maybe, just maybe. Anyways, so if what I said right now appeals to you, by the way, as you can see, I've battled more than 1,000 of these. If this idea appeals to you, if you want to support, if those tiers that I've mentioned feel right to you, then please go support. But don't just sign up and first of all, sign up for the Patreon only if you can. Not I don't want people because I know when we're living in the 2020 era of the post-COVID generation of people not working very much and people's incomes being pretty low right now. I don't want people who are unemployed and people who can barely even afford to keep their own homes to sign up for the Patreon. That's not what I want to do. The last thing I want to do is to have people who want to see this game go bankrupt because of me. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. So only if you can donate, I will appreciate it if you will. But also, like I said, take to heart what I said about specifically about some of the higher tiers. Okay, so that's it for now, and I'm gonna go into the mall and check out if anything's changed for now. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.
Hello again, everybody! I really hope you enjoyed this video, cause I really enjoyed making it. So, if you like what you've seen here, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more awesome content like this. So, until next time, guys, I'll see you guys next time.